everybody, and welcome to What's the Topic, the broadcast where myself, J-Dub, and just several of us get together and discuss a lot of different off-the-wall topics, a lot of different things that we bring to you each week, and we have a different, interesting topic for you tonight. We always, as always, have our returning host each week, one being my brother LC. LC, how's it going tonight?
Hello.
All right, and then a few words. And our other permanent host that we have bringing us some of this music in the background is Hitman. How's it going tonight there?
It is going good. Good to be here. Can't wait to get started.
All right. Like I said, we have myself, J-Dub, LC, and Hitman. We will be here every week bringing you all the chat topics, and we rotate around different guest hosts each week. And tonight we have DC over here. How's it going, DC?
Nah, it's going pretty good. Can't complain.
All right. That's always a good thing to know. No complaints. And also my other brother joining us tonight for our topic is down here in the bottom right. Razor.
How's it going, everybody? Pleasure to be back. Had fun last week. Let's do it again this week.
All right, and you'll hear me refer to him as Scott sometimes because, yeah, that's my brother, and that's what I know him as, but also online as Razor. So, what we have tonight, last week we discussed the Mandela effect, and I'm sure we will come back to that at one point or other in future broadcasts. But tonight, we're going a completely different direction. We're moving from that winter into the springtime of the year, and springtime means storms and bad weather and Mother Nature and all this. So we will be discussing, to begin with, the seasons. What are our favorite seasons? What are our least favorite seasons? And then we're going to be moving into weather events and different things like that. And all of this is totally unscripted. It's totally off the cuff. This is what we do a lot of times when we're playing different games together or just hanging out in Discord. We get to discussing different topics, and that's what we're trying to bring to you. But seasons: spring, summer, winter, fall. And in case anybody's watching that's not from the continental U.S., we are all based in the continental U.S., all of the hosts here tonight and the guest. So, with that being said, let's hop over here to DC. And favorite season. What is your favorite season to begin with?
I'd have to say probably right now, springtime. I mean, it's not too cold most times. It's not too hot. You know, you don't. Well, I can say you don't get snow, but we had snow 3 weeks ago up here in March. But usually you get a little bit of the cold, a little bit of the warm. Not too hot, not too cold. Like I said, it's probably my favorite time of the year.
Right on. springtime. Let's hop down here to our other guest. Um, Razor, favorite season?
I believe I'd have to agree with DC. Springtime, this time of the year, because it's like you coming out of winter and it's been cold and raining. Sometimes you get snow and ice where we live at, and it's it's like you're opening up the door and you're stepping outside and be like, oh yeah, I can feel it coming. The flowers are starting to bloom. The mosquitoes are coming out and all that, and it's just you can put away the coats and start wearing a sweatshirt, and then some days you walk outside and be like, you know what, it's time to put on the shorts. So yeah, this is my favorite time of the year.
Right on. And this has got me a follow up question that just popped in my head. But let's move on. Let's hop down to Hitman, favorite season.
Oh, that's a tough one for me because I work outside, so I get to experience all of them no matter what. But I don't, I don't know. I mean, obviously, middle of summer, I'm not a big fan because it's hot. Wintertime, lots of snow. Doing a lot of shoveling or plowing snow. I love that. I don't like the hours, but I love doing that kind of work. But if I just being outside, I think I have to agree with the other guys there in springtime. Although Colorado, the springtime can get pretty crazy because we can get some pretty nasty snowstorms in the spring, or most people get, you know, was it April showers bring May flowers, but we get April snow brings May flowers here if they don't freeze first. So I do like spring because I think it's you know, opens up into that, warmer weather's coming and starts getting nice out, and you can start getting outside, start shedding some clothing, and yeah, get ready for summer.
Shedding clothing. Okay. All right. LC, favorite season?
Always changed for me, I guess, Joe, through the years. Uh, Fall as a kid was like my favorite time because loved hunting. I still have a love for hunting, but it's got to where winter and cold weather, I don't like it. Spring, that's another good time. I mean, eh, it's weird. I mean, I like all the seasons, but because I like a snowfall in the winter. I like the spring rains. I like the hot summer. You get to go to the lake, go camping. Like I said, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be summer. I mean, I work indoors, so in climate control, so I get to stay cool during the day, get home in the evening, the 115-degree heat index. But summer would probably still be my favorite season, I guess, because longer daylight hours. Like I said, go to the lake, go swimming, go fishing, go tubing, wakeboarding, whatever. So I'd have to go with summer.
Yeah, and if I had to pick um, my favorite season, I like spring. I really, really like spring, but I'd probably have to go with summer. Um, I don't know. I work outside a lot, and yeah, it gets hot here in Arkansas. It gets damn hot, uh, and but I I don't know. I prefer the summer. I guess over the spring because it's spring to me. It gives you a hint of the hey, nice, pleasant days. You can go outside and have a short sleeve shirt on and do some activities, and then you get up the next morning. You're like, what the hell is this? It's freaking it's cold again for a couple of days. But me personally, I guess I would have to say I prefer the summertime. So now taking that, and we see Womblehead, he's picking spring and summer. And thank you for that chat interaction. We do encourage those that are watching to interact with the chat and give us your inputs. Give us your thoughts with whatever the topic is we're discussing. But now let's flip that around. Our favorite season. LC, what is the season that you dislike the most?
All right. Now, I know I just said something that I did like about winter. I mean, here, now where Scott lives, Hitman, it's drastic measures, just night and day from what we have. But it's nice, for like, you get a snowfall, and here it'll be on the ground for a day or two, and it's gone.
I agree.
But the winter, I mean, the older I get, the more I hate cold. I mean, I just cannot stand it. It's like you can't put enough clothes on to stay warm if you're outside doing something. Like summertime, you can always go up under a shade tree, get a cold water or a cold beer, sit there, but sweat, a little breeze, cool off. But winter would be my most unfavorite time of the year, bar none. It sucks. That's me.
All right. Hitman, least favorite season.
I don't know. It's again, I work outside, so none of them. I don't hate any of them. As far as seasons go, of course, Colorado. The big joke is there's winter, winter number one, winter number two, then spring, then winter again, and that's pretty much all the seasons we have. It seems like maybe a little bit of fall, but no. Joking aside, there. I mean, the middle of summer, the dog days of summer, that end of July, August, sometimes September, depending on the year. I mean, I grew up in Michigan, and those were the worst months of the year. It was so hot, humid. I hated those, working in those, because you could go in the shade and still not get cool with all that humidity. But
brother, come down here. Come down south.
I know. I've been down there. I've been in there. I've been down there. Been to Florida. I mean, I know what it's like, and it's terrible. That's why I live where I live, because it's you know what they say. It's a dry heat. Yeah. That saying everybody lives here. Yeah. But it is true. I mean, there's a big difference between coming here to Colorado and how dry it is, and there's no humidity, there's no bugs, there's no nothing. But again, another long answer, but I'd have to say the middle of summer, or summer maybe for me.
All right. Razor, least a favorite season.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say wintertime, because the winters that we have sometimes, even though it's not as cold as other places down here in South Arkansas, normally, years past, sometimes it said it may not be as cold, but you get a lot of rain. It's like, it's raining on a Monday. It's raining on a Tuesday. Look at there. It's raining on a Thursday. It rains all the time. And it's just, sometimes it may get warm. It's real inconsistent on what it is. Like this past Christmas, it was 75 degrees on Christmas Day here, and then a couple days later I think it snowed, if I remember right. But it's like, I'm kind of like LC. I would rather it be warm. I don't like the cold weather. I guess a lot of it's got to do with getting older, but it's just, I don't like it. The ice, the snow. Now snow's cool, but let's get a little bit of snow, and the next day, let it be gone. I mean, I guess y'all remember, what was it, last year, 2021, when we had the big snow that stayed here for like a week long. Had to miss work for a week, which is something that hardly ever happens down here in South Arkansas. I mean, it was like,
I loved it.
It was 20 inches.
Three degrees. Inches. Yeah, it got like 3 degrees here, and I'm like, walked outside and like, nope, screw this. I'm going back inside. So yeah, wintertime, I don't like it.
But to add something what Scott just said, though, Christmas Day was what, 74, 75 degrees here.
Yeah.
Easter was just this past Sunday. I think our high temp was 63.
Yeah.
It was
We were,
colder here on Easter than it was in Christmas.
there were some places here where we live in Arkansas, or in the state of Arkansas, that were 20 degrees or more cooler on Easter Day than they were on Christmas Day. But
Yeah.
all right, DC season you hate the most.
It's kind of a toss up. It's between winter and summer. I mean, I must probably have to say winter. Being up this part of Arkansas, I mean, it's nothing like Hitman up in Colorado, but I mean, it's further north than what I've ever been, lived at. And it just seemed like we got snow just every other week, it seemed like, and that just got annoying. Or like the ice that come through, it's just that got real annoying. I mean, yeah, you can add layers to keep warm, as other than like summer. There's only so much you can take off during summer before you catch a charge and get thrown in jail. But I think the activities in summer really just. I mean, yeah, the heat sucks, but I mean, there's so much you can do during the summer, other than what you can do in winter. Now, if you're in a place, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do in winter. Don't get me wrong. If you're in a place that like snowboarding or skiing, stuff like that. I mean, obviously those are things you could do in snow and colder environments. But here in Arkansas, I mean, you don't have too much snow to go snowboarding or go skiing or something like that. I mean, I remember that one year we had that snowstorm and ice storm that come through, and what we did is Clint pulled us on, I think, a trash can lid on the back of his 4-wheeler. That's the extent of.
That was the first. Then we got electricity for
Yeah.
like 20 minutes, and we aired
Yeah.
up our freaking inner tube, and then
Yeah.
really had
Yeah.
fun.
So I would probably have to say winter as well. I mean, it's kind of close for me. I just think the activities in summer beats winter. And then I would have to say fall. I love spring, but just fall coming around, you get football, you get the leaves changing. I mean, that's also pretty up there. I mean, I still think spring is better, but no one talked about fall yet, really. I mean, I'm not too much into hunting anymore, but like when I was younger, like getting fall, you're like, oh, it's getting close to deer season, or it's getting close to whatever, and it's football season. So I would have fall up there as well. I don't want to say anything too much about fall. I thought I'd give it its justice.
It's props.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not terrible. I
Well-
mean, there's a lot of good things going on with fall, but I think I like spring just a lot more.
All right. I said I had a question, or I had another thought that came up as we were discussing favorite seasons and seasons you don't like. Do you think where you live now has an impact on why you think that way? And let's hop back down to Razor.
Where I live at, do I think it has an impact on the way I
on your
feel about it?
favorite season and the season you don't like? Do you think living where you live is kind of biased you into thinking that way? If you lived somewhere else in the United States, do you think it would skew your thought process on that?
Yeah, okay. Like wintertime here, like I was saying, it's so inconsistent. One day in the wintertime, say in the middle of December, it may get up to 65 degrees. The next day you may have a thunderstorm. The next day it may snow. I think if I lived in an area maybe like Hitman in Colorado, where when wintertime comes, there's going to be snow, whatever it starts, say November to April or whatever, to me, that would be winter, because you walk out every day, it's cold every day. You walk outside, okay, there's snow. Okay, it's supposed to snow tomorrow. So, yeah, I mean, down here, the wintertime is just always kind of funky. You never know. You have to watch the weather because you don't know what it's going to do day by day. You're like, well, do I wear a coat to work? Oh no, I don't have to wear one today because it's supposed to be 58 degrees today. So it's, yeah. If I lived in another place, northern part of the United States, Montana, which I don't know, that would be probably too extreme, but yeah, that would probably change. Because I think it would be nice to be able to see the snow. And I've been out to Utah, last year in March, and just seeing the snow on the mountains there in Salt Lake City. I mean, it's beautiful. And then you wake up the next morning and it's cold, and then you look and you say, "Oh, the snow! It must have snowed in the mountains," because you can see where the snow line come down. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's a winter right there. Where that's what I think of. Winter, I think of snow and cold. And then you don't really get that at all the times down here.
Yeah, and let's go over to LC because you have recently moved from down here in the confines of way South Arkansas up to North Arkansas, and have what, a 4 hour drive from here, maybe, roughly.
But boy, does it make a difference.
Yeah, it's just going that far north. How has that impacted your thoughts, or has it impacted your thoughts on favorite season or worst season? Um, give us a little input in that, having experienced a little bit of that, little further north type
Yeah. Uh,
latitude.
yeah, I mean, I think it definitely does. Um, I mean, obviously, it did not help winter at all. I mean, winter wasn't my top choice to begin with. Definitely not now with all the snow. And everyone says, "Oh, we don't get that much snow. We got too much. We got more snow than what we usually do." I don't care. It's more snow than what I ever deal with. So I mean, I mean, it really didn't help winter's case at all. Like I said, it's made it where my favorite isn't as clear cut as it has been, but my least favorite really hasn't changed at all. Like, yeah, I mean, I like the snow. There's just it's just too much sometimes.
Got it.
Granted, that's coming from a guy living in Northwest Arkansas with a guy living in Colorado who deals with
Yeah.
a lot of snow.
And
But
that's one thing I want
Feet
to
of
get
snow.
That's one thing I want to get into because talk about it just dawned on me about living in one area and then moving to a different. Hitman, you are not originally from Colorado. You came from a little further north, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was almost to Canada, but once you live in Michigan, that's almost part of Canada. But
Canada.
yeah, it's a big difference even in winters, too. I mean, we get a lot of snow here, but we also get a lot of melting. It's not like in Michigan it can snow, in November, December, and that snow can stick around until the beginning of April before it melts, depending on the season. I mean, it's not uncommon for it to stick around. I think the last few years they haven't had as bad of winters, and they've had rain come along where it warms up to 40 and it actually melts. But now you get up to northern Michigan and across the straits, or I guess the UP, where the Upers are,
Yeah.
where I used to go deer hunting all the time, and you're shoveling 3 feet of snow just to build your hunting camp, too. And yes, we used to sleep in tents up in northern Michigan in the middle of winter to go deer hunting. I know it sounds crazy, but it was actually pretty warm. So yeah, coming from Michigan to Colorado, it's a big difference. And I've been joking around in chat about the dry heat and dry cold and all that. I mean, but there is some truth to it. When you come from a climate that's a lot of humidity to one that has none, when you're surrounded by Great Lakes at Michigan, the humidity is always high. You come to Colorado, there's hardly any lakes or rivers. All the rivers are called Sand Creek because they don't have anything in them but sand. Everything is dry out here and dried up.
All right. Now, and continuing with this direction, where you live, does that make an impact on your favorite or least favorite seasons? LC, not only have you lived here in South Arkansas, but you lived way down in South Louisiana, like the other extreme of the scale, you know. So, does that impact what your thoughts would be on favorite or least favorite?
Fleetwood. Like I said, down there, it'd be a right flip flop. Winters were mild. I mean, you still mow your grass down there at November up to December. Doesn't get cold down there. I think the coldest day I ever experienced was around 39, 38 degrees. But the summers are absolutely freaking brutal. We think we have some, what do they call that stuff? Heat indexes here. The crazy thing about living down there, middle of summer, say like July and August, like most people were, it's like cold winter. You go out, crank your vehicle up, and you turn the heater on. I would go out about 10 minutes before I'd go to work, turn my truck on, hit the AO Max or the Aero Max wide open to cool the truck down. It'd be like 85 degrees, 100% humidity. It was freaking miserable. But with the question he asked, yes, it would definitely make a difference in what I'd pick for a favorite season or whatever, living down there. Because summers were freaking unbearable.
Yeah, and
But
I
winters
can
are
imagine.
winters are nice. Get a little rain. That's about it. But yeah, it was hot down there.
Yeah, and speaking of
Damn hot.
nice summers or whatever, I was in the Navy, and when I got sent to my active duty station, my ship, I was stationed in Hawaii for 4 years, and that was unbelievable. But most people think Hawaii, yeah, it's perfect weather year round, which it is, but during the wintertime, because you get acclimated to the summers and all of that stuff, in the wintertime, it may drop down to 65 degrees, and you're like, ooh, I got to get a jacket. It's kind of cool out here tonight, because, you get acclimated to where you're at. If Womble, who was over here in chat, he worked up in Montana in the wintertime, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I remember he told me at one time he said, you kind of get used to it being cold. And I'm like, there's no way in hell. No way in hell. You get used to it being cold, but I can actually understand that where you live at, you kind of get used to what those weather conditions are like. And if you were born and raised in Montana and used to those winters and all that, and I don't know if they have a dry or wet type of cold or heat in the summers, but if you were to move there after 20 years and move down to, say, Baton Rouge, Louisiana,
You die.
you're going to freaking die. Because you're going to be like, what the hell is this? And it might be springtime. It may be 70 degrees, and you're like, what the frick is this? So I do think, where you live. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going, while you're on that subject, is, born and raised in South Arkansas. Joined the military, like you. I was in the Navy, crossed the equator, middle of summer. It was hot. Okay, then get deployed to Iraq. I'm thinking, okay, I'm from South Arkansas. I can deal with this heat. it was hot over there, 130 degrees, okay, but there's no humidity there, you know, suffered through it, made it through it.
But is that all right? Before you go on, 120, 130 degrees. Now we've had some pretty high temperatures, triple digits, here in South Arkansas with the humidity. You said it's a dry heat. Could you differentiate the difference
Oh,
between being here, or is it just
yeah.
because it's hot? Is it over there,
Yeah.
130 degrees? Does that
Yeah.
seem hotter?
Well, to me, it was hot. Here you got the heat and humidity, which the heat index and all that. So you're automatically sweating when you walk outside. Over there, it was just hot. It was like being in a furnace the whole time. Especially in summertime. And then the sandstorms come in, and there's wind, hot, just like somebody's like Mama could attest to this. Because he was there with me. It's like somebody's got a hair dryer blowing on you the entire time. Well, then 4 years ago, whatever, get deployed to Africa. I'm thinking, okay, they're talking about, oh, it's hot over there. It's hot. I was like, I've been to Iraq. I can deal with this. No, you get over there, you're right there on the coast. Then you throw in that humidity. Now, that was the most miserable time, most miserable year of my life. Because now you got the heat of 108, 109 degrees, but then you throw in that humidity, and I'm like this. Why in the hell would these people want to live in that area? That was my thinking. And then you get back here, and then the next summer, of course, I got back in December. So next summer rolls around, it's getting up to 98, 100 degrees. I'm like, for the first couple of years I was back, I was like, this ain't nothing. But now, since I've been back, for a while, yeah, it's the heat and humidity gets you. So, yeah.
All right, let me talking about heat and humidity. Hitman, you were talking about there was a difference in the cold in the winters between Michigan. That's a more wet cold up there as opposed to Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know when people talk about dry heat or dry cold or that kind of stuff, I definitely can tell the difference. I was back in Michigan for Christmas this winter, and it seems like every year I go back, I get colder, just because you can feel that humidity. When you're used to, 10 to 15% humidity, it's nothing. And even in the summertime, it gets hot here. When it's 80 degrees, to me, it's hot. Don't get me wrong. It's a different hot because you get baked by the sun, but you don't have that extra kick of the humidity. Just drenching you with sweat all day long because it's a lot drier. That's why we have so many fires and everything here too.
So the wet cold or the humid cold is colder.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, cold is cold. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely cold, and if you get wind with it, you're definitely going to be cold. But I mean, kind of where I live right now in southern Colorado, it gets, it's unusual, I'll say, for it to be frigid cold for a long period of time. I mean, we might have a day or two, but you're not going to have a week long, in the teens or super negative temperatures. But we get some storms, in the winter with some big winds that drive that wind chill down and make it cold. But you better know how to layer up, like I think Wombo said in the chat, because if you don't, you definitely freeze.
I do appreciate everybody coming by and chat and checking the stream out and interacting. Man, we're going to do this every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. It's called What's the Topic? And there's a reason for that because you never know what the topic is. So everybody come back, check out the stream, and see what we talk about next week. Tonight it was weather. We talked about the Mandela effect. You never know what we're going to talk about. We have lots of ideas, and we want to get you guys in the chat involved with what we're talking about. Give us ideas. If you think you have something you'd like us to talk about, let us know. And we appreciate each and every one stopping by and checking it out. LC, last thoughts?
Learned a few things tonight that I didn't know about, so I like this how we're doing this. Pick a topic, learn some things, and get chat interactions and get their thoughts and opinions. And with that, I just say had fun and see y'all next week.
DC, I got it right that time. Inputs and what do you think about tonight?
Well, this is my first time on here since we, other than the like the test one we had starting out. I mean, I think tonight was a pretty good topic between the seasons and the weather and everything like that. And you know, it's always interesting getting to talk to. I mean, the majority of us. Honestly, I'm just talking about Hitman. I mean, he's the only one that in Arkansas, but like getting his, what he deals with in Colorado. Because at some point, I would like to go to Colorado and visit. And it's interesting to hear all these other things. All these other stories or experiences. It's always a real good time to to learn stuff. And
All right, Razor.
I enjoyed myself again, just like last week. Said anytime you guys want me on, yeah. If not, then I'll definitely be in the chat and do some commenting, maybe do some suggestions or whatever. But yeah, like I said, just hearing different experiences, and how other people think about weather, Like last week, the Mandela effect, it makes you think about things. So yeah, I had a great time.
All right, Hitman.
Yeah, I'll agree with what everybody said. Another great podcast, I think, tonight. A lot of good conversation. Learned some things. Heard some good stories. And, looking forward to continuing this on.
All right, and continuing with what Hitman said there, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, you never know exactly what we're going to talk about. That's why it's called What's the Topic? You have to tune in to know what we discuss. I appreciate LC and Hitman that are co-hosts with me here. We have different guests every week. We had DC and Razor up in here tonight. You never know who's going to be our guest. Who knows? We might have a celebrity guest one night. Still working on some things with that. But we appreciate everybody stopping by, and we will catch you all next week.
See you, everybody. Peace.
Have a good one.